So this edition, we're going to be talking about the version 2.3.4. And for housekeeping, just so you guys know, this edition works with Node 8.15.1, NPM 6.9.0, and MongoDB 3.4 or higher. All those versions are higher. So yeah, make sure you're running the right version of those systems. Otherwise, if you follow any, if you find on the internet any tutorial, documentation, stuff like instructing you how to install and set up Rocket.Chat, they have different versions. Sometimes people forget to update, so get in touch with the authors or tell us about it, and you try to keep those things always up to date. So thank you. Let's start with some new features. So new features, we have this release. One that we are very pleased to add is a setting that allow you to only dismiss desktop notification after the user has some interaction with the system. This is very good. Sometimes when you go out of your desktop, all those push notifications about sometimes Omni-Channel queues or anything that might be relevant, and if you come back and they're not there, so if you turn on these features, they're going to be waiting for you until you come back, and then they will start to disappear or be able to dismiss. You find these on the admin settings. And thanks for MPDBL for contributing to that very, very important feature. You also have had an option for admins now to, when they are registering new users, to quickly set up just a random password for that user before they configure the account and for them to receive that email. We had some feature like that before. It wasn't, the user experience wasn't perfect, so the guys worked to get this feature now as a standard. So it's easier than ever to add new users to Rocket.Chat. We also have added some security features. One is to add the ability for the user to actually reset their own end-to-end encryption keys. Until now, this was only a feature that the admin could work, but we realized some users might want to do this themselves, not relying on the admin to do this kind of thing. So the admin actually removing the power from the admin to do this kind of thing, and now the users can reset their end-to-end encryption keys directly. And also then in security, we created, it's not even a setting, but we added one step on the email updates, that the user's old email gets notified whenever someone tries to change their email, right? So if anyone, the admin or any of the managers of the server tries to update any user's email address, the old email will receive a notification saying that someone has changed, or whoever has changed their email to the new one. I think it was a requirement for the security team because it would actually kind of open the power. Without this step, the admin actually could change the user's email, maybe then get a password reset or a reminder, change the password, log in, so impersonate that user, and then after just change the password back or something. So this idea is to really leave some track of the changes that someone is doing on your account, and you always should be alerted about it. So thanks for the security team to bringing that up, and thanks for the development team to quickly introducing that functionality. And on the other side, we also added a feature for the admins to control whether or not they allow the users to delete their own messages. Until now, we actually had a setting, a permission setting, to allow users to delete or not messages, but this was more for other admins to allow admins or moderators to delete any message on the channel. So, but even if you remove the ability to delete messages on the channel, everyone could still delete their own. Some companies don't like this idea of people deleting their own messages, want to keep the track record of everything that was set. So now administrators can go there, edit, and remove this setting from users, so no one will be able to delete their own messages. We also have some updates on the Omni-Channel features. One is we're actually now treating live chat as Omni-Channel. We are rebranding these on the admin interface, rebranding into our communication material and manuals is an ongoing process. So right now we are kind of like in this strange phase where we might see the word live chat being used where Omnichannel would be the right naming. The reasoning is up until some time ago, Rocket.Chat, all the customer facing side of Rocket.Chat was always done using just the live chat widget. We then end up integrating SMS, email, creating bridges into WhatsApp, Facebook pages, Telegram. So now it makes a lot more sense to just call it the Omni-Channel feature, where you have all this queue of agents and departments to deal with different types of inquiries. And then the live chat is just one of these channels. So we are going through this rebranding phase. We welcome the help from the community whenever you see live chat used on the wrong place, that Omnichannel would make more sense. Please help us on the website, on our documentation, and everywhere. Just highlight and make it clear. Omnichannel is the whole feature, and live chat is just the widget that is one of the channels inside that feature. So we continue you to help us clearing up that mess. Thank you. So, and one of the big features coming up on Omnichannel is a complete revamp of the whole analytics for the Omnichannel conversations. We've been working in making the whole real-time monitoring and analytics faster, being able to deal with a lot more connections at the same time. So, and also giving a lot of more of metrics that are industry standard about like time, average time to response, the average duration of conversations, and even give some report about specific users. We now have some fairly large organizations using Rocket.Chat as the omni-channel solution to talk to their customers on all their customer-facing apps, mobile apps, website, Facebook pages, and WhatsApp, with thousands of agents. So we are now really going deep into the kind of analytics and reporting that we are giving to companies, because we think this is one of the strongest features on Rocket.Chat. So stay tuned. A lot of new things are coming out on the analytics, but you can see there's a lot of improvement there already. And to make the life of our administrators easier, we also added some forms and views to make it easier to edit the information about all the agents inside the organization, what departments they belong to, and restructuring this whole flow of information. So right now, it's there's a lot of work being done on getting that user experience for administrators a lot easier for large organizations. So stay tuned. To make sure that all your chats are organized and classified properly, you also now have an option on the departments that you can say that you cannot close an omnichannel conversation unless the agent has tagged each conversation accordingly. So this is just to make sure when something is resolved or closed for any other reason, or changed or is still pending, that you enforce the good habit of tagging properly the conversation. So now you can do this per department basis to make sure your flows are being followed correctly. Now let's talk about improvements. I would like to start with some performance improvements. One of the big tasks that the guys here are working on, it's really tackling many of the performance bottlenecks. We have some customers pushing us to get to millions of simultaneous users. Obviously, the whole architecture to allow us to do that has to change a little bit. So there's a lot of performance enhancements that the team is working on. And to start, we have been replacing a lot of the pub-sub mechanisms, some of the publications on areas of Rocket.Chat that didn't really need that kind of reactivity, and changing those for more optimized REST APIs that will do the job just as well or better, and be a lot lighter on the server and the amount of memory the server uses for those users. So both on Omnichannel, a few of the reports, some access tokens APIs, so the list of departments, the list of snippet message, live chat, visitor information, all and this and many more of the publications are being removed and changed into, rather than a pub-sub mechanism, being changed into a single REST endpoint to get the initial information, and then distributing the updates via a one-way streamer rather than a specific pub-sub mechanism. So this is ongoing work. You guys are going to see more and more of this replacement, and hopefully you'll be noticing as well the boost on performance and with much lower footprint on memory that Rocket.Chat is using. The front-end team also has worked in some performance improvement on the rendering of the messages. We have been removing a lot of the computations from Blaze from inside each of the message templates. I think the result of this is there is less points of recalculation when and the system has to track to re-render in case you change some of the settings on the system that they won't even change very often. It's only if the admin has changed some of those settings on how they work. So we thought that rather than putting that on the message level, they're moving these into the context of the whole UI. And if the admin changes, yeah, you're going to have to recalculate the whole screen, but that it's a much less frequent event, and you save a lot of memory and a lot of processing when you don't have those computations inside each of the messages. So we've been doing this a lot more. More and more of the messages are getting like faster to run on the screen. So the goal is to make it really like snappy to change between channels and between rooms, and we are working to get there. Also, on putting Rocket.Chat in a diet, we have been removing a lot of the libraries that Rocket.Chat uses to a lazy loading interface. So they are only load into user browser if they actually use or need that feature. We have removed a few of the libraries to this edition. There is some of the live chat graphs and views, the charts library you used to do graphs for the admins, and even the QR code library as well. All this are making our bundle that the users need to load when they first get Rocket.Chat get smaller and smaller, and even the parsing time faster, and getting the user experience to improve a lot. So you would see, I talked about this already for the last release. We're gonna keep having new of those libraries on every release that we're moving to this lazy loading mechanism to make the initial load a lot slimmer. So hopefully you guys can notice the difference. Now let's talk about some improvements, right? One of the big improvements that people will see on this release is that the admin interface is now have a big chunk of it that was completely rewritten using React. If you go to the admin interface and all the sections below the search bar, when you can actually search which setting you want to change, all those screens that are created dynamically based on the settings that the administrator can use on each of those sections, you see that they are using React components and using Fuselage, our new design system to components. So they should be a lot snappier. They're only being loaded also dynamically when required by the admins. They are following a much stricter design guide that our design team has put together. So you should really notice that it's getting a lot more fresh and clean and homogeneous. And now on the next release, what we're trying to do is get all those components and use on the other screens that are on the above the search bar as well. So the target is hopefully by the next release, if we are not able to finish everything by the first release of next year, that the whole old admin has been made redundant, the code removed from the bundle, and all the new admin is running on a React library using only the new components from Fuselage. This has been a lot of work, from the design system to creating Fuselage to turn with the React components to embedding Fuselage inside Rocket.Chat and replace all the old Blaze components and functionality. So it's a long way. They have been taking a lot of time from our team, but we do believe that once this process is finished it's going to be a lot easier to just build new functionality for the admins using this framework. And also in a way that we know that is not going to affect the non-admin users, because all that library is only loaded when needed by the admins. So please give it a try, help us test it out, give us some feedback about Fuselage. Fuselage itself was created as an open source project of those React components. So also, if you guys want to take a look, it's on our repo called Rocket.Chat Fuselage. And if you like it, let the front-end team and design team know, please. They would appreciate it. And if you don't like, just also let us know why and tell us what you can do to make it better. We also have a very interesting new feature where admins can actually set up the batch size and interval for the push notification messages to be sent to Apple and Google. This until now, it was a hard-coded frequency and batch size, which it's not ideal and can was causing a lot of delays in some servers where the queue wasn't being processed in a timely manner, and actually making people think there was a bug and getting the push notifications delayed. So what Exordium from our community has done is to turn those settings into the actual settings to make them configurable on the admin interface and not hard-coded. So if you're experiencing some time delays, if you have a lot of users, you might want to have a look on the batch size and interval to make sure you're actually processing your queue of push notifications in a timely manner. Our front-end team also worked to allow the dragging of images and text from the browser. So this was mainly so you can, you're navigating to a website, you see something that you want to share on channel, you now can just drag and drop from the browser directly into the Rocket.Chat window to send as an attachment or text. There was some missing configuration on our side to make that work, and now we have improved, added this feature, and hopefully it will make you more productive. Next, we have some interesting feature that first when I read people requesting it, I didn't quite understand why would someone want to do it. But now you can unfollow your own threads. So you can, even if you start a conversation or people turn your text, your message into a conversation, a thread conversation, and people start talking, you might want to remove yourself and stop receiving notifications about that thread. Hopefully that will help you also be more productive and focus on what is needed when people are just chit-chatting about something that you said. So enjoy and use it wisely. And now let's get into some bug fixes. We have a few bug fixes on this release. One of the important ones that might also affect how people get their push notifications is that we change the priority of the notifications when you send it to the FCM. I think we were not setting a priority, and then by default the library was giving priority 0, and we moved the priority to 10, which is what Google recommends for being the priority for messaging push notifications. So maybe before you were actually missing some of the push notifications because of this priority. Google was not giving them any special treatment. But now Rocket.Chat will be telling Google that that's a instant message push notification should be delivered with the utmost priority, and they'll make sure that you guys have it. So there's some service level agreements around that. On the iOS though, I think that the library was already making a default to 10. So now this should affect only the Android users, but hopefully you guys will notice the difference. We had another few small issue with the setting for audio in the alerts on channels. We've worked in a few of the bug fixes on the last release. I think apparently there was some still work to do in some cases on configuring a specific sound. So the guys have now worked on it, tested it again, and yeah, hopefully now all the sound settings for notifications on channels should be working as expected. And some good news for those admins out there that like theming Rocket.Chat in several different ways, shape, or form, and colors. We found out that we had a problem with the sidebar font color that was not respecting the theming instructions. And then thanks for a PR to Maria Eduarda Cunha that has fixed it. So now your settings and themings will also make sure they are applied and obeyed on your sidebar. And last but not least, we have an important fix on the threads engine. So until now, if you try to edit a message that you sent in a thread, it was actually pointing the edit mode into the main message window. So it was a bit misleading. It was actually rendering on the wrong place. But right now, if you go there now and try to edit a message in a thread, the corresponding input box is going to be triggered to enter in edit mode and show you the message you want to edit. So just hopefully this makes things a little bit more clear for you guys to use it. This wraps up our edition of What's New in Rocket Chat. Hopefully you guys liked what we shipped on this release. And stay tuned, because most of our team are actually working on things that are big, that couldn't fit on this release. Some of those are actually targeted for the 3.0 release. We're going to have, like I mentioned before, we're finishing the whole revamp of the admin interface. We're going to have rich messages using all the blocks that you see in other chat and digital workplace applications. You guys are going to see a whole new engine on the chaining message in a way that you won't see apps or clients anymore missing message or missing bits of conversation, because every message is going to have the ID of the previous message, so you actually have a chain of the message that is trusted to be always complete in all your devices. We are having a whole new federation protocol between the servers that is designed on top of this chaining of the messages, and so much more. So we're actually cooking a big release. 3.0 should be out soon. We might have another 2.4 release before we're able to pack it up, all those new features. But stay tuned. There's a lot of new stuff coming on, and you guys are gonna love it. Until next time, and see you later.